Is it on? Testing everyone. Oh, it's the yellow button. Hi, shalom out there, everyone. Thank you. Oh, this is my second time filming, and I'm just getting used to the studio, everyone. This is Salah Hakuya. They used to call me the real life mermaid, animation, live force. You know what I'm saying? And I'm so thankful. I'm just trying to get to know the studio. And I was saying, everyone, wow, welcome to the second introduction of the Chin Yamurindi show, which is my son, Yalani Yemas Chin Yamurindi. And this show is dedicated to my son, Yalani Yemas Chin Yamurindi. Why Chin Yamurindi? And I was just sharing, I thought I was on and found out I was not. So our wonderful staff here who are truly beautiful people, very kind here at the television station is really bearing with me because, I really look at the fact that I am here on April the 20th, the second introduction of Chin Yamurindi. I'm so thankful just to be here because it's so much going on out there in the world. And we all know this. Just to make it to your destination, it's really a miracle. I'm just here to tell you, it's just a miracle. It is so many obstacles that come our way, and sometimes, as independent, as an independent person and as a single person, single agent and not working for the world, it's like you're one person and it's like, I have to be here. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to make it here. I have to make it there. And then there's so many things that we're doing in the present moment, and then you have to do afterwards, and then you have to make it here, you have to make it there, you have to do this, and then there's new things pop up that you wasn't expecting. It's like, how can I be on time? And then I have to go here, I have to go there, and it's like, wow. And then you have grandchildren, and then you have, it's like, so the fact that myself am able to make it again without an excuse, because this was a test for me. It seemed like it's so many reasons why we can't show up. We can't do this because this is happening and that's happening. And I just decided, I said, you know what I will be committed to is Yalani Yemas Chin Yamurindi. Why Chin Yamurindi is in memory of my son. Those who do not know, Yalani Yemas Chin Yamurindi, who was assassinated. And I say assassinated, he was murdered in the quadruple homicide that happened January the 9th, 2015. 4 African-American young men was shot to death in Hayes Valley in January the 9th, 2015. And so quadruple homicide that happened in Hayes Valley over in the Fillmore area. And so he was my only son. And he was a remarkable young man. And I wanted his name to be, as we say, of Hebrew culture, is to be left with the blessed. And that's you all out there. I wanted his life never to be forgotten, who he was and what he was all about and what he stood for, because he was a great young man. And, I've been doing television for over, 15, 20 years. And I've had my show called The Real Life Mermaid Show. And everyone know about that show that I did in my 20s. And then I had, and That's My Word TV. I came in and I did that. And, of course, my name, Salah Hakuya Chandler. I had Salah Hakuya Chandler show, the Salah Hakuya show. I tried that. And as time went on, when you do community shows, you really don't get support. You talk about the issues, the serious issues in the community, the causes that we fight for. But we do not get support. You're basically on your own. So to be committed is a challenge. You don't get finance for it. We don't do advertising. So it's like, how can you really have conviction with the work that you do that is not taken very seriously with community channel opposed to mainstream? And then so I found myself being committed to my son. If I'm not committed to anything else, I am committed to Yalani Yemas Chin Yamurindi. And my son have me to jump over hurdles to get here, not to make any excuses. If it's like if I'm 10 or 15 minutes before shooting time, at least I made it. And I did not fail my son. I did not let my son down because, I've been really observing a lot of the mothers, and especially in the commonly called African American community. And a lot of the mothers and families that I have noticed have lost so many children, especially the Black community, have lost so many loved ones over the past 30, 40, and 50 years that it's horrific. And with so many of these young men being murdered, especially a lot of the men, Black men, is that you barely hear their names. And I had a problem with that. I had a problem with not speaking my son's name, not introducing his name to the community as far as who he was, to have his name never to be spoken. I found myself in a depth of depression. And it's been 3 years, everyone. And no matter what I would do in the community and, to go forward and to help in any kind of way, I still felt that I was in this deep depression. And I didn't understand why. And I realized that with the grieving process, and you grieve, I don't care what no one say, you will never forget about your child. You're constantly grieving. And anyone who tell you differently, they're not speaking the truth. You are constantly grieving and you're constantly hurting. And I found myself suffering. And I said, you know what? My Creator doesn't want me to suffer. It's natural to grieve. It's natural to mourn. You don't mourn always, but the grieving is always going to be there. But the suffrage is something very evil about the suffrage. And I wanted to know, why was I suffering? I know why I'm grieving, but why am I suffering? I found out the reason I was suffering is because if you're not doing anything about it, it's going to cause you to suffer. So many of these Black mothers are not functioning. They are participating in their daily duties and responsibilities and their obligations, but they're not functioning. You can sense it. It's something there. They're not doing too well. And some express it. And a lot of times you say, well, let's get together. And it's very difficult for the mothers to get together because they're hurting so much on the inside. That they don't do much socializing, but they would do it with their families. But when it comes to really, really just getting out there, they're not living. And I started, after 3 years, I said, well, what is going on here? And that's because they have not found justice. There have been cases that have been solved with some of the mothers, and there's many that have not been solved. And even with the ones that have been solved, they were still suffering. I was like, well, what is it? Because they're steady contemplating in their mind about their child. And for me, I felt, well, I go out and, myself fought for the arrest. 17 months after January the 9th, I got one arrest, and that's Lee Farley. And there's 3 more killers out there. And myself fought and protested for 3 months and created the reward by way of London Breed assisting the $250,000 reward homicide, that if any person case have not been solved in 1 year, and there's someone who have seen or a witness or know something, they will give you the $250,000. However, it has to lead to an arrest, a conviction. It has to lead to a conviction. I fought for that for every person in San Francisco if the case have not been solved. So you'll know, Pastor Word, that if there's a case that have not been solved, you can it's a reward homicide fund. Whereas if you know anything or seen anything, you can go and you will be rewarded the $250,000. And not many people know that myself was the contribution to that, but I protested for 3 months over at City Hall to make that happen. Me and a couple of mothers assisted, and yes. And so myself did that. And then in Bayview Hunters Point, I went to Malia Coins and I let her know that many of the families in the disenfranchised communities, preferably the African American community, had not been acknowledged. And that myself wanted to acknowledge all of those young men and some women, young women who had been murdered in San Francisco, that I wanted to acknowledge and have something to let them know that I was thinking about them. And that was the polls, the black, red, and green, that starts at Jamestown all the way to 3rd and Evans, 200 poles, and that we were taken from the continent of Africa and brought here as slaves. And in memory of my son and all of our people, I wanted my son legacy, because his name, YY, Yalani Yemas Chin Yamurindi, is from Zimbabwe, the House of Reverence. So his theme is remembering Africa in America. And that's every year, remembering African American. So that's going to be the legacy that my son, I'm going to do every year for my son, is remembering the Africa in America. And so his birthday just passed, which was yesterday, April the 19th. And I wanted to know, he would have been 23. And I was pondering in my mind, what was I going to do for his birthday this year? And I was thinking, well, maybe I have another remembering Africa in America at Candlestick Park, which is one of my favorite parks. And, barbecue and, maybe do some arts and crafts or things like that with the children. Because my son was loyal to the children. He loved the babies. He was into the children. He said he had an epiphany. He said, I have an epiphany, Mom. He just woke up and said, what is an epiphany? He told my daughter that he felt that it was meant for him to work with children. And he was about 18 years old when he had that epiphany, he stated. He was very intelligent. Just listen to that word. He was so highly intelligent. And what I decided to do for his birthday was to have a painting party, a cleaning party at my home, and a decorating party for me. Because my son always felt, he said, Mama, you've been doing this community work for so many years, and he felt that I had neglected myself. He felt I was getting nothing out of it. And I've given so much attention to the people because I'm a fighter for my community, my people. Anyone know I'm an abolitionist, and that's why I am a fighter of justice and truth. And he hated the fact that I was always given to the community. And so this year I said, what my son wants me to do is to do me, do something for you. And I was thinking, well, what's more than to have a nice, paint my whole house. I painted my home, had my whole home painted, had my rugs cleaned, and it changed my spirit. I said, happy birthday means to be happy. It does not mean to be sad. My son would not want me to be unhappy. And so I celebrated my son by doing something for me. And I felt in the universe that he was very, very pleased, and it helped me. It gave me a spirit to go forth and to celebrate life. And so now the next day I'm up and I'm getting out there, and I'm carrying a lot, and I've had about 20 bags that they just told me I had to take out of storage right before the show. And, and I'm like, or it was going to be thrown away. And I'm like, and I couldn't leave it outside once it was taken out of storage. But I had so much spirit. I wasn't complaining. I'm doing this all by myself. I don't have any help. I have a cart that seemed like the wheels is falling off. And I had all these plastic bags full of clothes and shoes and all kinds of things that I had accumulated over the years, because basically I'm a collector. And I wanted to save it, to have my garage sales, because I'm getting ready to do a fundraiser, because I'm running for the Board of Supervisors of Baby Hunters Point, District 10. I said, well, let me have a nice fundraiser. So instead of me throwing these things away, because I have been throwing a lot of stuff away that I've been given to me and collected, and I was like, I am not throwing these nice shoes that someone can wear, nice clothes, nice purses. I'm not doing it. So I had all these bags an hour before the show. Do I call the show once again and tell them, no, I'm not going to be here, because I only film twice a month, right? I said, I am not going to continue to always make excuses not to be here, especially for my son. If nothing else, for Chin Yamurindi, I'm going to be here for Chin Yamurindi. And if I have to carry all these bags, I had to hurry up and carry all these bags and put them in the storage room that we had, a garage, big garage, and we have a big storage room. I said, I'm going to put them in there, and I'm going to put a sign on them and tell them not to throw them away. But this is what I'm going to do. And I had all these bags, and I felt, and it would be a time that I would have been depressed. And I said, no, I am not going to be depressed. Give praises that you're able to carry one bag at a time. Give praises that you got the spirit in you to do this. Because Harriet Tubman, they made her carry a hoe with, like she was a mule. And she would carry that tractor. And you would look at it like, well, look how they was laughing at her carrying that tractor like she was a mule. But she was so spiritually and physically strong from her pain of wanting to be free. And I'm like, I would rather carry these 20 bags and keep my mind not idle than to be depressed and suffering. So if this is what you got to do in your space of time to keep busy, keep busy, keep busy, keep busy. Sometimes when you're given a lot, it's for a reason, because you can carry it. A lot of times we say we can't do this. We do this by ourselves. But if you got the ability and the power to do whatever to make you spiritually and mentally strong, look at it as a blessing and not a curse. And I completed that task. I was thinking, well, I text my daughter, I need you to help. No, I completed that task. And no matter how I'm hurting on the inside, I'm hurting. It's got to be something given to you. You got to stay busy. You gotta stay busy, because a lot of times if you don't have nothing to do, that's where the sufferers come in. Production is key. Sometimes when things happen to strong people, it's for a reason, because it's something that we are supposed to do. You cannot do anything weak. What we are carrying spiritually, the pain and the suffering, these strong mothers that I'm seeing, phenomenal women. My best friend, Yolanda Banks Reed, they just killed her son January the 3rd. Shot Officer Joseph Matu, shot her, Charlene Tindall, in the back 3 times. My best friend. And now I have to be there to fight on the fighting line with her. My son, January the 9th, and I'm like, why is it that me and this woman that's been fighting in this community, strong, had to have our children murdered? And both of our stories, her son was with his daughter and his son and his wife and some groceries. And then he didn't even know the shooter. Didn't even know the stranger that he had a quarrel with. That Joseph Matu ran up on him while they were scuffling. And out of the 2, he could have shot either one. He shot her son on his knees, hands up, in his back. He didn't even know, if you saw the camera, what was going on. And then I'm like, my son, he was just trying to cash his check. I'm looking at how they were murdered. On his half-an-hour lunch break from Benihana's Japanese restaurant, saw a friend and asked him for a ride at 9:45 on a Friday night, and 10 o'clock they were all dead with his uniform on. And I'm asking, Yahweh Elohim means creator Hebrews, why would me and my best friend sons be murdered like this? No gang relation, raised good boys. He was a family man, Charlene Tindall. My son was in school, education paid for the rest of his life by the Fortune 500, in the STAR Project at City College, being formally mentored by Mayor William. And I'm sitting there, why I'm suffering? Because I'm contemplating, why would a young man like that have to die? Because it was something for us we have to do. It lets us know somebody got to have that power and strength to bring awareness to these homicides, these unsolved homicides, the police brutality, the community brutality. Why is there a separation? They're all dead. Why is it a separation that the police brutality always be acknowledged and the community boys is never acknowledged? And show I can carry this community brutality. I can carry it. I can speak it. And bring an awareness. My girlfriend Yolanda Banks Reed, she can carry it with the police brutality, because we the dynamic duo. And we are not going to let the United States of America continue to murder our babies. We're not going to allow it. So this is the reason for why Chin Yamurindi, why my son? Why your son? Why not solve it? Why the police is getting away with murdering our babies by always saying they fearing for their life? Somebody got to have the courage. These boys wasn't in a gang, so it's no excuse. We don't have to feel guilty because they make our mothers to make them look like I'm not a victim. I know I was a worthy mother. And therefore, with this passion and strength and knowledge and truth, having the courage to speak the truth, it's a shame and a disgrace for us to have allowed so many black boys to be murdered and we haven't even spoken about it. It's a shame on you. For us have not risen for all these black children in your family. You're going to let all these boys' names go, not even acknowledge or remember, like our boys is nothing but a piece of trash. How dare you? And you say that you black and you are proud. And then you look at me and Sister Yolanda Banks, and how we throwing blows out there. You think we want to be out there? You think we want to always be on TV and protesting and fighting? No, we do not. Who wanted to wear these shoes? But I am not going to wear these shoes without a fight. And not only are we fighting for our children, but we're fighting for yours too. So we need your help, people. If you don't do nothing, fight back and open up your mouth. Speak it. Speak your son's name. Speak your daughter's name. Tell the world who your children are. Because the others, they do it for theirs. I would never stop saying Yolanda Yemas Chin Yamurindi's name. Why? I would never stop. And that's one of the reasons why I would not suffer no longer, because I would be here as much as I can to speak his name. His name must go forward and be left with the best, because he left a legacy. He was a beautiful young man. He was a thinker. He said, I'm going to be a well-renowned mind. 18 years old, a well-renowned mind. And you call that a gangster. You call that a thug. When he wrote on his school book, he said, my brothers, not the gangsters, not the Crips, not the Bloods, not the thugs. He said, my brothers on his notebooks, not the niggas, my brothers. That's the spirit that needs to be talked about. My brothers. Young man. Knew what love was, knew how to give, knew how to share, knew how to care. Charlene Tyndall, beautiful young man. His name means peace. We need peace in the land. That is why Charlene had to be taken. I firmly accept that. I accept it. If you see his calm face, there's a documentary out. Look it up. Of Charlene Tyndall. It's the most beautiful documentary. It was playing at the where was it? It's over there on Market. I can't think of the name right now, but I get the information because it's a dynamic. It will have you crying tears. And I have so much compassion for Sister Yolanda. Knowing she's strong, but she got to sit there and bleed on the inside of her son that was just trying to catch the bark. Is dead. It's something going on in the universe. It's something going on in the atmosphere that we got a responsibility for us to go in ourselves and listen. Why are all our children? Why? All our children are being murdered and we're not doing anything. This don't have nothing to do with God, you say. The Creator don't agree with this. It has something to do. We got work to do. So I say to you, let us do this work and let us do this work together. I love you. I love you all who love me, because it says wisdom loves those who love her. And that's in scripture. Look that up. I'm not here to be anybody's friend. I got enough friends. I'm not here to make friends, because I'm not going to make any friends by being the woman who I am, speaking truth. And I would rather speak truth than have hatred in my heart, because I'm not going to have hatred in my heart. I'm not going to have bitterness in my heart. I'm going to show kindness. I'm going to show loyalty. I'm going to show friendship. I'm going to show conviction. I'm going to show dedication, much that I don't see our people doing. for each other. We only looking out for ourselves. Selfish. Not extending a helping hand to help somebody along the way. You see all these boys and girls on the lowest totem pole and you won't even extend your hand. It's an evil going on in the land. And I'm not going to be a part of it. Why? Because I'm going to speak the truth. And the blood is not going to be on my hands. So I am thankful to be alive today. I am thankful to go forth because I know that I will fight the death energy any day by going out and doing what I need to do. And that's keeping these children's name alive and celebrating life, because I've always enjoyed life. Deaf spirit needs to be swallowed up. Somebody got to swallow up the deaf spirit and say, I would not stop you or stop me from rising because of the oppression and the depression that we are experiencing. I will not stop. I will rise to the occasion. I have risen to the occasion. This is our Passover time, and I'm getting ready to go into the Passover, our Hebrew Passover, Hebrew New Year's, and I say to you, all of you, I say, Shalom, which means, in memory of Shalim Tyndall, peace.